Hi there, it's Psychic Cynthia here. Welcome. Welcome, fellow cosmic travelers, seekers of light, and stargazers. This is your Friday forecast for the week ahead, and that would be the week of October 12th to October 18th. And what a week ahead we have. As you can see, I'm wearing my Looney Tunes t-shirt today. I thought it was appropriate because let me tell you, this week ahead is going to get loony. Lots of energies. So, shall we get to the forecast? Let's get started. So in this week ahead, we are having a lovely new moon in Libra on Friday, and that would be Friday, October 16th. And I'm saying it's a lovely new moon in Libra because it's really the best energies we have this week. And this is going to hopefully help you to be encouraged to seek a balance and moderation, to seek peace within, to seek equilibrium. It will help you to have the motivation to reach for that, because you're going to need to reach for these things in this week ahead. And there are many transits happening in this week ahead, many tense transits, okay? But this Libra new moon, I think, is one of the more gentler transits that we're having. So it will help to remind you that deep down inside, you do want peace, you do want harmony. I hope you do, at least. And if you do want those things, it will help to remind you to reach for them, and it will help to give you a more wise point of view to look at where you need to get rebalanced. That's what we should be looking at with the Libra new moon, is where do we want to get rebalanced in the weeks ahead, and where do we want to have greater peace and harmony, and what steps do we need to do to create that. Now, the new moon is important, don't get me wrong, but the really big news this week, along with that new moon, is that Mercury is actually going retrograde on Tuesday. And that's Tuesday, October 13th. So this is the beginning. I don't know if it's really the beginning, because it really starts before the retrograde. It started last week with last week's forecast and talking about the storm. But technically speaking, this is the beginning of 3 weeks of, some disintegration, some breakdown, and, there are increased delays and miscommunications in the outer world. There's a lot of friction, especially around the time that Mercury actually goes retrograde. So this week, and especially early in the week, there's friction because that planet goes to a standstill, and actually you can reduce the friction this week. Not only the Mercury retrograde friction, you see there's other friction as well. We've got the Sun opposing Mars, and Mars is making its closest, trip to the Sun for the whole year, actually for several years, I've heard, but especially for this year. So that's going to amp up the energies of dissent and competition and conflict. That's also happening on Tuesday. It's exact then, but it will be in effect the whole week. Then on Thursday, we have the Sun squaring Pluto in Capricorn. So this is all the Sun in Libra. It's all that Libra energy making squares and oppositions to these planets and the other cardinal signs. So Thursday we've got Sun square Pluto, which also is another conflict planet in its own way. It has other things, but it brings up even deeper conflicts and ego struggles, but also brings them up hopefully so they can be transcended. And then that Sun is going to square Saturn on Sunday of this week, on the 18th. So do you see what I mean when I say it's going to get a little loony? Actually, it's going to be pretty intense this week. And if you were lucky enough to have like a nice place you could get away to and just kind of be away for this week, I would do it, okay? Now, for the rest of us who have to, live our lives and work and take care of kids or animals and, just take care of things, we're going to have to find a way, hopefully, to stay more even balanced in spite of all these intense energies. But here's the thing. So there's going to be friction this week, and there's going to be temptation. I want to use that word here, and what I mean by that is You are going to be tempted to give your power and energy away. You're going to be tempted to slide into ego. You're going to be tempted to perhaps be self-righteous. You're going to be tempted to engage in the dramas. You're going to be tempted to let yourself get triggered and activated and get involved in a bunch of crap you shouldn't even be getting involved in, not if you're on the higher spiritual path. Remember this week, ask yourself, what is your focus? What is your aim? What are you about? Are you about being self-righteous? Are you about hate? Are you about judging on others? Are you about, competition in a negative way? I mean, I understand there can be a little healthy competition in sports, but are you about the ego and always trying to prove you're better than others? Are you about those things? I don't think so. I don't think really deep down inside you are, but perhaps you do have some parts of the self that are still like that, some places where you're still maturing. Because people that are like that, when we are like that, let's say when a person is like that, when we feel the need to hate on another person, to judge, to focus on their negativity, and it could be a person we know, or it could even be a person like out in the media or in politics or whatever, but we feel the need to just obsess. Obsession is a good word here because we have the Pluto energies being activated, and that brings up obsessions. So, look at what are you obsessing on? And I don't think it's good to obsess really, especially when the new moon is in Libra. This is saying to be more moderate than that. But if you are going to obsess, at least obsess about something that is uplifting to you, that is constructive, that is healing to others. I mean, if your obsession is starting to cost you your peace of mind and your health, or lose you a whole bunch of friendships, you might want to rethink that. Probably you're being an asshole if that's the case. I hate to say it, but really, you're probably not being a kind person to yourself, first and foremost, actually, and probably not to others if all of that is happening. If, you're finding that you're so obsessed with something, especially if you're so obsessed with being right, okay, that is a danger with these energies. And then even if you're not, because I think a lot of you watching this are really compassionate, kind-hearted, higher vibration people who understand about unconditional love and, loving others even when they're struggling, right? Even when they're maybe not on the right path, so to speak. That is a higher spiritual calling. That is a higher spiritual art, actually. But even if you're not being activated in that way, just understand others around you may be activated this way, and there may be a lot of friction. So I think, how can you lessen the friction? Or how can you use the friction? Maybe you can use the friction. I think we can use the friction to feed the fires of our soul. You can look at what is going on around you, and even if you find yourself starting to engage in a power trip or getting obsessed in a negative way, you can turn that energy back and turn it back to your soul and use it to inspire you to do something constructive and helpful, or to just be a better, more caring, kind person. So those are some thoughts on the energies in this week ahead. Very challenging energies. Look at where you're putting your attention. Where you're putting your attention is what you are worshiping. Where you're putting your thoughts, your words, your actions, that's what you worship. And be careful about worshiping and feeding with your attention those people or things that you do not want more of. If there is truly someone or something in your life that you wish did not have so much power, or that you wish would go away, or a situation even that you wish was not that way, then quit feeding it with compulsion, with compulsive thoughts, with obsessively talking about it, with, trying to persuade others to think about it in the same way. That is giving that person, thing, or situation more power. And by the way, this applies on both the personal level. I mean, mainly my videos I do are to help you in your personal life, because I believe that as each person transforms, we will transform society. You know, that's how you change the collective, by changing the individual, because guess what? The collective is made of individuals. And if the individuals are sick, the collective will be sick as well. If the individuals are healed and evolved, then the collective will heal and evolve as well. So this very much relates to your personal life, yes, but it also relates to the collective, to the, you know, these social spheres that we share together. So let's put our energies into creating more of what we do want, more of the evolved way, more of the way that embraces all people and all things, you know, a way where we can live harmoniously together on this planet. And that starts with harmony within you. That is the lesson of the Libra New Moon that I invite you all to really take to heart this week. Go into that inner heart and let that speak to you. And don't get sucked into the drama, and don't get sucked into the darkness. And yes, it's there, you know, and sometimes I know you feel like you have to speak up. Let your light be your voice. Words are just words. I mean, yes, I use them to do these videos, and we use words in our society. We use words a lot, but there's something more powerful than words, and that is light. So let your light and your presence, your very way of being in your life, let that be your message. Let that be your speech. Let that be what you give out to the world, how you weigh in, you know, on the issues. Let that be enough. Let that be enough for you this week. And guard that light. Shine that light. Focus on that light. Do not let your anger, your competitions, your hatred, your shadow side. Look at the shadow side, okay? Shine the light on the shadow side this week. That would also be another good thing to do as we're entering into this Mercury retrograde, which is a time for many of such miscommunication. And listen, if you want the miscommunications to be less, if you want the frustrations to be less for the next few weeks rather than more, then give yourself plenty of time and space to get things done, and have plenty of patience when dealing with yourself and with others. Be patient, be kind, be forgiving towards yourself and others, and that will go a long way towards transforming this Mercury retrograde period. You can change it from something that might be draining and frustrating into something that could be very rejuvenating for you, very uplifting. If you'll slow down and give yourself time to tie up loose ends, to finish up things. I wouldn't try to start new projects, not totally new projects. Now, if you already kicked it into gear before the Mercury retrograde, then by all means continue forward, because that's essentially what the retrograde is about, is digging deeper. So let's use this as a time to dig deeper into our souls, to cleanse where needed, to confront the shadow sides, to realize sometimes that often we are the ones who are responsible in our lives for creating the very things we do not want. We do that by feeding it with our energy and attention. So let's feed the things that we do want to create, both on a personal and collective level. So that's it. That's a wrap for today. Speaking of communication, I've got to bounce to call a spiritual friend, but I hope you found this forecast helpful. And until next time, I'm sending you all much love and asking that all the healing rays of the cosmos rain down upon you and yours. Bright blessings.